Wait, I didn't get to feel you.
Should we record like this? Hey guys. So,
welcome back
to this.
I just need to get some of your energy. I'm being solar powered by Athena one moment. God, your vibes are so good.
Take us away.
Welcome back to the Sisters Show. It's two of your favorite sisters over here. We are in South Florida, Miami to be specific, and it is a rainy day, so it looks like it's after dark, but we do not have alcohol yet for me. And we are actually going to talk about this week pet peeves.
We are
in relationships, and Athena and I are going to rate them. And we're just going to have fun with it. But first, what is your sister is shit for this week?
So my sister is shit for this week is... So I've been traveling like a good amount. And I decided to get the Calpac duffel.
It's so good.
So I had been using like this backpack from Amazon as like my personal item on flights. And I don't know if this will make sense to you, but I didn't like that like it's a backpack. So it's like tall. And if I want to find something, I basically have to like dig through it.
Unpack the whole thing.
Right. Forget it. So I was like, I want something that is big and I can actually pack stuff in, but that I can open like a duffel and actually see what I have. And so I got the Luca duffel from Calpac and I am obsessed. It's squishy. It's like it fits under the airplane seat, and I had all my little like travels like bags inside of it, and it was perfect. I traveled on a plane with it once so far and I love it, and I really recommend it. Slides right onto your carry-on and it makes my life so much easier, and it's really cute. And
now I'm like, should I get the Luca? Because I have the big one though now that I bought, and that's a little big.
It's like so good, and it's not... So the big weekender, like I know you have the mini one, which is great for trips, and I love my weekender bag, but the only thing about the big one in the airport is that it gets so heavy on your shoulder because it's so...
And it's not squishy.
Right.
So there's no way for me to squish it underneath the seat.
So with
that's what
duffel,
I don't like. Yeah.
It does that, and I'm obsessed with it, and I really recommend it. I'm
actually going to look at it when we get off of this.
They have a bunch of different colors, not sponsored, nothing. I really was just looking for a good bag that was versatile and I could use and shove a bunch of things in, and I'm obsessed with it. So I really do recommend that item.
Hits add to cart immediately. Literally. Anytime she talks about something, I'm like, wait, if you have it.
The influence is real.
If you have it, I think I need it.
You do. They have it in pink.
I know, but you know what? It's not pink. It's like a almost
magenta.
Yeah. I'm not a purple girl.
No.
You're either going to be like a bubble pink, bubblegum, hot pink.
They don't have like a light pink?
Not in stock. When I was looking at it, because they had a 4th of July sale. Will it come in time? I have 2 weeks.
Yeah. Mine came in like a week.
All right. So mine is on HBO Max. I watched this documentary. It's a mini series like you and I love. And it was called The Perfect Wife. I finished it in a night. So good. I don't want to spoiler alert it, but it's like really a mind F. It's really good.
Okay.
Called The Perfect Wife. Highly recommend. It takes weird, sick, twisted. Basically, this wife goes missing on her jog. Blonde, blue eyes, big fake boobies. And the husband comes home from work without spoiling it. And he's like freaking out. Of course, they always look at the husband and think it's him. And it's just like, you need to watch it.
All right, I'm going to add that.
Watch it.
HBO actually has some really good series on there, so I do really like them.
Add that to the roster. And yeah, so let's get into this week's episode about just common pet peeves. We have talked about like, you know, red flags, green flags and all that, but I think this will be a fun episode. And I wonder how many we have the same. I feel like a lot will be aligned,
Probably.
but we'll see here. All right, so let me get down to a couple. Not responding to texts or calls.
So I don't really think this is like that big of a pet peeve for me. I feel like when I was younger, it was more of a pet peeve.
It's a maturity thing.
But as I've gotten older, like it doesn't bother me as much. I think when I was in high school, it was like the biggest deal in the world. Why isn't he answering my texts or my calls? But now, as long as I know you're okay and like safe, if you're like at work for however long and like you're not answering, it's fine. You know what I mean? It's not.
I think the big one, because I'm with you, is if you live together.
Yeah.
When you're not living together, like I'm sure if he was like away at college and he was distant, you'd be like, answer the phone.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You know
like,
what I'm saying?
I get that.
Also, share your location, bitch.
Oh, yeah. Location is on.
Always.
I have a fear I'm going to go missing and no one's going to be able to find me.
I'll find you.
So I always have my location on.
I'm going to stick an air tag up your ass. Can't lose my little sis. It'll fit up there. She's got a nice one. All right. Using the silent treatment.
I don't like silent treatment.
I fucking hate that.
I think,
it's
because
so immature.
It's so immature. And it's like, I get it if you, I think I get if you separate and like you want to give it like 20 minutes to cool off, but I don't like hours and hours on end of like not talking or just being with like one leg out, being ignored. I don't like that.
No. When I'm like in the heat of an argument, like with your brother-in-law, so I go pop the fuck off, and in the past he'll like walk away from me. Like that wasn't even a pet peeve, but like when they walk away mid-fight, that's what silent treatment kind of gives me. And he's always said it's because you need to cool the F down, which I get.
Yeah.
But when you walk away and I'm like mid-sentence, I'm like, yeah, you gonna walk away?
Yeah.
Why don't you finish it?
Yeah. Like,
I
why
don't know
are
if
you
that's like
finishing
the
what you
gangster
started?
in me, but
I don't like silent treatment.
silent treatment is so immature in my eyes.
To me, silent treatment is like you just don't know how to even communicate what your feelings are. So you just leave the
you're like
situation.
emotionally immature.
Yeah, I'm not a silent treatment girl. It's definitely a pet peeve of mine, for
Same.
sure.
When they say I'm fine and they're not fine.
I feel like that goes hand in hand with the one above it. Like,
Yeah.
again, just communicate how you feel. Like, use your words. We're not 5. Like, don't say I'm fine. If you say I'm fine, I'm going to continue my life on. Like, there's one thing I feel like we both can attest to is you have to be able to be honest about how you're feeling and feel comfortable enough to say it. Like, I think from what I've seen in a lot of relationships is people that feel like they can't
get comfortable.
People that feel like they can't be honest about their feelings will just be like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Like, let's forget about it and move on. But it's like, you're going to hold that resentment until you work it out.
It turns into cancer later.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. All right, next one, being too close or friends with an ex, hookup or girlfriend or something like that.
Neither of us
have exes.
Wow. So, I mean, when I was younger, it was like the biggest deal in the world. Like when you're in high school, like all like the girls that like you guys talk to and all that, but we don't really have like serious exes like that, so I can't really say, but
it's a no-go for me. And we have exes. Now, another funny one, I don't know if like any of the millennials can attest to this because maybe there's more space between them. Also too, like you guys are like the exception. Like Sean and I dated, but we broke up for a few years. They haven't.
You know, a lot of people, I like know so many of my clients actually have that story.
Like us?
Like where they were together for a really long time and then they like broke up and then came back. And whenever I hear, I always think of you guys and I'm like, that's such a like cool, because it is like, I know in the midst of it, it's like the worst, but like to be able to say you guys literally separated and then you found your way back to each other.
I'll let you know if I regret that later.
I'm sure when this episode goes up, everything will be fine.
All right. We'll see. Sean is in the doghouse on this episode and you're listening and you should do something about that. All right. So what I was going to say was not Gen Z, millennials. I have ex-boyfriends, hookups, same with Sean, that follow you on social media.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
As far as in real, like IRL. Mm-hmm. How mom was that? How mom was that?
As far as IRL.
That was so dumb. Keep it in. All right, acting different around friends or family.
I hate. Oh my gosh, like I hate that. I think my biggest annoyance, and I have heard like a lot of people say this to me, is when like your partner would act differently towards you in front of his family.
Yeah.
That is like
ick.
So ick. Like there is nothing that would actually disgust me more. And I don't think either of us have really had it happen a ton where like we're treated like not good in front of family necessarily, but like
Speak for yourself.
but in general.
A fucking chameleon is what I call it. And Sean's been called a chameleon many times. And that comes with maturity too, like where you can be who you are all the time.
Yeah.
If there's one thing about me that I guess I'm going to put on the record is like I'm the same. And so Sean has always said that about me. Like Jackie's like this around this person, like this, like it's always this.
Yeah.
Like if I'm a wild one, I'm a wild one. Like I don't change for people. Like I don't, you know, when you meet someone that kind of adapts to the energy in the room, like I am the energy in the room. And I've always been that way since I was a little girl. And so I cannot stand when if Sean or some like a girlfriend, like your boyfriend shows up or your husband and you're like a completely like as an adult when I know someone in my friend circle in the past and then their man comes around and they're like a completely different person.
No, I don't like that.
Oh my gosh, that gives me so many red flags of you are so insecure and don't know who you are.
Yeah. And that speaks volumes about your relationship too, I feel like. That says so much about like the trust you have, the comfortability that you have with your partner. Like for you to change when you walk into a certain room or you're around certain people and then your partner comes in and you're completely different, like that says
I'm not saying
volumes.
We don't have like, you know, obviously if I'm around like a pastor or like someone that's you give like a little more whatever to, like I'm still Jackie and I might not like walk in a thong or topless just out of respect.
It's like a tamed version.
Yes.
But you're still you and the same person.
Yeah. And I think that that's something cool. And when I can real recognizes real. And I feel like when I'm around people that just like don't give a fuck and they just are who they are, I find so much, and we could not agree on a lot of things. I'm just like, I love it. I'm just really into it. And so when you are a chameleon in a relationship, it's like such a turn off for me. Comparing your relationship to other relationships. That's like kind of like I shouldn't have even said that one. Skip that. Talking about your flaws to other people.
Talking about
like Joey talking shit about like you. Never.
So if there's one thing that I have always been like, and you know what it is? I think it's a pride thing. And I think you can relate to, like I can count on one hand the amount of people in this world that I've ever
spoken badly about Joey too.
Like from the time we started dating, I think it's a pride thing because I think it's like an embarrassment thing. Like God forbid I'm vulnerable to like many people and have to like share things. Like I'm very
I'm the same
specific.
Way.
Like I can't like those people that just share everything to anyone.
No,
like,
that's
your client comes in and you're like, oh, like my boyfriend, and I'm like, I can't. Like,
not the cul-de-sac moms that used to pour wine at like 2:00 and complain about their husbands. I'm like, I can't get down with this.
I think it's a pride thing.
Yeah,
because it's like
I like it then because I'm the same way.
Yeah.
No. All right. Let's see. Well, poor hygiene. I know how you're gonna say that one. We won't say that one either. Controlling behavior.
No. I actually think this one is like my top biggest pet peeve. I can't do it.
The more...
Yes. I already know what she's going to say. Should we say it together?
The more you tell us not to do something,
the more we're going to do
it. Yeah. So here's a little fun Jackie story time story is, and I might have already said it on the podcast, but I'm going to say it again. Did I say it on this podcast? So back when, because it was the mom episode of having an identity outside of mother. So I went to Sean and I was like, I really, really feel passionate about taking pictures and I really want to be a photographer. And I was thinking of doing mini sessions and like chasing people around Myrtle Beach. And like, I'm just passionate about it. And the boys are little, I know, and I don't want to take away from you. I had like a whole presentation to tell him about it. And I just said, like, I'll do it when you get home from work. I'll make sure it doesn't cut into the time of the house, the kids, whatever. Literally this whole synopsis. Would you believe this cat looks at me and he goes, I said, like, how do you feel about me doing it? He said, I don't want you doing it.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. But you did it.
I did it.
So clearly we don't listen very well.
And this was when I was in my like legalistic Karen Christian stage of my life.
What was his reasoning for not wanting you to do it?
I provide a perfect life for you. You don't need to worry about $1.
Yeah.
And I just don't see what the value is of you. Like he basically was like, you're up to above that.
And what was your reaction? How did you take that?
I was complimented because I'm thinking, wow, he like sees me higher than that.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, this is like reverse psychology too. It felt like, because like, I'm like, wait a minute. But if I want to do that and I'm passionate about it, I'll like clean dumpsters if I'm passionate about it.
Right.
So like, I just kind of went inward for a little bit. Like I had the camera, I still really wanted to do it. And then I just fucking did it. I did it anyway.
Do it anyways.
And push comes to shove, all these years later, it's like Real Raising Cubs started with my camera in my hand. So,
and he's so grateful that you did.
And I'm so glad I didn't listen. But that's my little story time story. I'm not saying, you know, obviously as I've matured as a woman, like I don't think that that's the right way to go about it. And I'm sure I don't remember, but I think we had more conversations.
I'm sure you did.
Like, it wasn't like I just said
one and done.
Yeah, like it was like we had that conversation and then I brought it up again because it bothered me. And then especially someone like myself, if I keep bringing it up, he kind of is going to realize like this isn't going to go away.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, but looking back on it, I definitely was like, don't tell me not to do it.
I think it also depends on the person's personality, because I think there's a type of man that like almost gets a high from like being controlling and telling you what to do and telling you what you're not allowed to do.
Sean's not like that at all.
And he's not like that. I think with him,
I'll give you that, I guess, whatever.
Sean's currently in the doghouse.
He's
again.
Still in the doghouse.
And I think with other people though, it's like an OCD thing, and it's a I just have things a certain way in my brain and like a way that I like things to go. And
yeah, and our machine, like we've talked about in seasons, and the team was working well.
Yeah.
And I think for his OCD at the time, it wasn't like I am a dictator, and it was more so like he didn't see the value in it and why I would want to like chase Myrtle Beach families in the heat for $100. Which I got, but I wanted to do it. And I'm glad I did it because I learned so much, and it taught me everything I know about, you know, even like I built my first website. I learned Photoshop. I learned how to edit videos, like all of those things that we've talked about, like on the progression of life. My photography business was the catalyst.
Right.
And so I believe if you're listening to this and you have something that you're passionate about, you know, have the conversation once, twice, 3 times. And if it keeps, like, you need to keep having the conversation. But, you know, like I was saying, now looking back, if there's something I want to do, Sean, like, trusts me. But at the time I was like, you know, mid-20s, 3 kids. And like you said, I don't think he wanted our unit to change. But it was all good. It was all good.
Yeah.
But I did not conform or listen. So,
well, also, I think there's a difference between like rules and respect. I think that what I've learned is like, I don't want to feel like my boyfriend or my husband is my father telling me what I can and can't do.
And I don't want to be your mother.
Right. Like, this is not a parental relationship.
I got lip gloss on it.
Like, this is not a parental relationship.
There's subliminal messages in this podcast episode for my husband. Like, serial killer.
You should just send him a clip of that.
Okay.
But, you know, this isn't a parental relationship.
Right.
So
that's such a turn
that
off.
dynamic that you have as a parent to a child of like, okay, these are the rules, and if you don't follow them, then there's consequences. Like, I don't want to feel like that.
No.
And when you're with someone where you both respect each other and you both want a successful relationship, that's not going to happen, because you're both going to want to, you know, have these conversations and communicate with each other and be open about like, okay, I want to do this. How do you feel about it? Like, this is why I want to do it. And most of the time, if you have someone that loves you, cares about you.
Yeah. And that's why, like I'm saying, we had more conversations about it. But the funny story is he said no at first. And I did
and then
it.
10 years later, empire built from raising cubs. We used to, oh my gosh, I remember the one time.
She was my photography assistant.
When I would come over the summer and we would do the shoots, I remember we would go to the beach and...
Remember the one in the rain?
Yes.
Turquoise shirt, Karen shirt I was wearing?
Yeah.
She was holding the umbrella over my camera. So that
I remember we would bring props.
There was like 20 people in
on the
chair.
Boardwalk, and I would carry like chairs and props and all this stuff, and we would sit down and have them all set up, and it was an experience. But like,
and then getting home and editing the photos, like it taught me so much about business too, the back end of businesses. It was good. It was all good stuff. But yeah, no. Okay, being or acting jealous.
After our last episode of the strip clubs.
I'll still pull a bitch off. I said to you on that episode, I said, could you be a swinger? And that's where I said something funny. And I
literally scoured the episode for it and I couldn't find it.
I'm going to listen to it tonight and find it and take a, I asked her to cut me clips and the dumb me didn't, like, I need to remember the timestamp anyway.
Wait, pause. Before we answer this, have you heard of Sepia Bride?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So I think we need to hear your opinion on this because this is actually a viral thing. Okay, so let me give the story. If you guys are aware of this or not, I'm going to tell it to you, and this might take a few minutes. So there is a bride on TikTok that has gone viral because she's been posting videos every day basically since this happened, basically saying that she paid a wedding photographer to do her photos and she hates them. So let me tell you the story. So basically what happened is she hired a photographer that has a very warm
aesthetic.
Okay. And it's very clear. I can show you her Instagram when you go on her page that
like that's her portfolio
yes.
is. Okay.
This bride hired her. And you know how wedding photography is nowadays. Like it is, like I think she probably paid her like, I don't know if it was $6,000, $8,000, whatever, like a hefty price. Yeah. That's what she costs, and she agreed to pay for it. The photographer delivered the photos to her from her wedding day, and 30 days later, the bride goes through her photos and realizes that she hates them. She doesn't like the way she looks, or she doesn't like the way she looks. She didn't like the way that the filter made her skin look. And side note, the wedding was on a day like this, overcast, which obviously out of everyone's control. But I guess what had happened is that the way that the photos were edited was different than like the shoot, because I guess the photographer did like a shoot the day before and it was different weather. So they loved how those photos turned out. Wedding photos, she hated. She messages the photographer and is like,
after she paid 30 days later.
Correct, saying, there's some photos that I'm not liking. Can we adjust it? She said like she didn't like how her skin looked in some of them, all this stuff.
Okay.
So then the bride proceeds to make a PowerPoint presentation of like 40 photos.
Not the PowerPoint.
40 photos or whatever that she did not like, and basically wrote like a... There's drool that just came. Basically wrote a PowerPoint presentation with a comment under each photo of what she didn't like. Yes. And all this is happening on TikTok publicly.
She went out and like blasted her?
Yes. And then the bride, so the photographer was basically like, look, like you knew my style of photo before signing up with me. Like I can make minor adjustments, but like I'm not going to change my style of work for the photos that you don't like.
Right.
And then the bride proceeds to say, I'll pay you whatever. Can you send me all the raws? Which I guess in the photography world is like big no-no. Like you never share raws.
Yeah.
And basically like the photographer stood her ground and was like, no. And like now they're on terrible terms. It's all on TikTok. The photographer went on like a podcast, like explaining her side of the story because the bride has been bashing her on TikTok basically. Like there's a whole series about it, like wedding photography.
I want to watch this when we get off.
Yeah. And so I just want to know your thoughts on that.
What was she trying to get out of that?
She wanted the photos basically to be edited differently. Like she didn't like how warm they came out.
But what made her take it to TikTok?
That's the question of the day.
How do I feel about that? You never, ever, ever, unless it's Joey giving his photography sister-in-law raw images.
Yeah.
You don't give anyone the raw images ever. Some photographers don't even like when you take your phone out of respect. You never also put your own filter on someone's edited picture. That's why I wanted Eddie. Joey's.
Eddie?
I was thinking of editing. Like,
yeah.
Like,
so now she's called.
So my wall is black and white and Joey took all those beautiful pictures of the kids. I'm gonna ask him to make them black and white, like 3, because I don't want to touch his fucking picture. You don't do that. It's all wrong.
I have to show this. If you guys have not like followed this, you have to go on TikTok, just search sepia bride or whatever, because that's like the
here. I want to know, is she are they both going viral? I hope not just her. Like, at least is the photographer getting some publicity for it?
Yeah, she definitely is, because she went on like a podcast, and now people, because in the beginning I was like on the bride side, because I was like, okay, like it's a bride, like you got your wedding day one day a year. You got a wedding one day a year.
Yeah.
You got your wedding one day in your life.
Just kidding.
And you know, you want to have photos that you love, but I think that the taking it public like that is honestly like such a bad look. I don't know, I would never put someone's livelihood. You know what I mean? I feel
like so many people though, their instant thing is like bad Google review. I'm gonna make sure so like I get why people do that, because we are like big review people now in this day and age, but I don't understand, except to go viral, why you would take it like, I don't know,
to that place.
It's
no,
like dirty.
If you guys haven't been caught up on all that, go on TikTok and search it. You'll see everything, but it's very interesting.
All right, well, we're gonna have to watch that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I only have a couple more. Okay. So the next one is complaining all the time.
I don't like negativity. I don't like negativity. I don't like people that pick out bad things. I think there's a difference between being real and realistic, but then I also just don't like, if you can't see the best in a situation, I don't like that.
Yeah, and just like you said, I mean, it's not always rainbow farts and unicorn Google whatever. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but negativity and always looking at the downside, you can always find the positive, and it's just so draining, especially if it's your partner
for the rest of your life.
No,
being with someone, you're going to be faced with death and grief and hardships, and to have someone that doesn't know how to pick themselves up,
to find the silver lining.
Yeah.
And have you ever noticed when you're around someone that's just constantly negative, that like it literally will suck your soul from you?
Yeah.
So that's a big no-go for me.
I agree.
Yeah, I can't. All right, hold on. Let me find one more.
A juicy one?
I don't think there really are any more juicy ones I was going through. If your partner is rude to others, like in public, or like a waiter, I guess I could.
Like Sean, when we like go out, bro, this man will literally like it from the car. Remember he yelled at those people from the car? What was it? In Key West. The lady, I mean, that wasn't rude, but it was just hilarious. We were walking down the street, and this lady was in like a golf cart. She wasn't even in a car. Like, she wouldn't have killed someone.
No, but the lady was running a light.
Right, she ran a red light, and Sean literally screams at her.
Yeah.
Saying like, you're gonna kill someone, like what's wrong with you? Then in the parking lot again, remember the guy backing up?
It happens all the time.
I mean, look, I don't want someone that's rude to people. But
it's also
hilarious.
It's funny.
Like, it's also freaking funny.
Sean doesn't walk around rude.
No.
It's like people that are actually,
but I get that. Like I get it.
People who
piss you off
need to be put in their place. He will call them out. So I mean like if you
like rude to like the waiter.
Like, here's a funny one. Today I go to
wait. Would you rather have a husband that flirts with the waiter or is rude to the waiter? Pick your poison.
That's really hard. That's a hard one for me. Yeah. What would you rather?
I don't know.
Like, if they're rude to the I was a waitress, and it's like, I can't get down with that. But then if you're flirting with her, I can't get down with that either. So I'm gonna
like a good hand on the shoulder.
Oh no, absolutely not. Today, when I went to the AAA office to get Sean an international driver's license for Greece, the guys there, and Yanni came in with me because he just wanted to like stretch his legs, and it was going to take like 10 minutes. So there's a Starbucks across the street, and I really have to pee, and AAA doesn't have a bathroom. So I'm like, he's like, you can have a seat, ma'am. It's going to take a little bit. I'm like, all right, can I go to the bathroom? I mean, can I go to Starbucks? And the guy's like, yeah, it'll be, then you can walk in and just, grab your international license for your husband. So as I'm walking out, I turn around and I was like, do you want anything? To the guy that works there. But he was like, he was not hot. He was probably closer to your age.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I literally was just...
Cougar.
No, it wasn't even like that. I would not buy my guy coffee. My point in saying it to you, as we got outside, I wanted to bring this up, is Yanni goes, it's really cool that you're like just like that. You're just like a people person. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, because in that moment, it wasn't a flirty thing. No. It was like, this kid is sitting here working, and I'm like, I'm gonna go get my Starbucks, and I was just like, he's gonna pay me for it. I wasn't gonna give it to him.
Yeah.
And anyway, so Yanni was just like, I just love you. I love how you are. So I was just like, oh, thanks, kid.
Yeah.
Because they're like,
but I feel like it's also because we both have worked in the service industry, and like we deal with people all the time. And like when you are interacting with someone that you can tell is like a genuinely good person,
I'm
like
you story, I'm thinking if Sean offered to buy a 20-year-old girl a coffee, I might not like that. But in the moment with
that's because we women are just not constantly like.
My 6'2" son is standing next to me. It was totally just like me being nice. And he didn't want a coffee, so. But
that's unfortunate.
I would have brought him a coffee.
Well, yeah.
I would have been like, "What do you like?" And then I probably would have gotten annoyed if he had like a weird order. And then
if he was like me, I want a triple shot over ice with a half inch of milk and a pump of vanilla and a pump of toffee and sweet cream cold foam.
Yeah, and then how is he paying me for it? It would have been a whole thing. So I'm glad he said no.
Sexual favors.
But in the moment, he wasn't even good looking. If he was good looking, I could be guilty right now, but he wasn't. Oh, and he's listening. No, I'm kidding. He has no idea who we are. No. So anyway, little acts of kindness like that. Like I have been a person, I don't know if you've ever done this. I've paid for people's orders, like in the past in like Murder Beach. I've like paid for the order behind me. I don't know. I just feel like.
I think it gives you a high.
I love
gift giving.
Like we did a whole Christmas for our neighbor during like the COVID saga, where their dad was really sick, and we gave them their entire Christmas, and it filled me with so much joy. I get an actual high.
I know that about you.
High.
I know.
Addicted.
I guess out of all the things to be addicted to, it's a pretty dang good one.
I like watching the people open the gift.
Yeah.
I get so high off of gift giving, and it could be just a coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I don't have any other icks to add to it. Do you have any that you can think of?
Some ones that are fresh on our mind.
I'm trying to think though. Not putting the toilet seat down.
Not listening to tiny details that I say. That's a big one for
Not
me.
paying attention. Right? It's the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Being directionally challenged. I'm just thinking about things about Joey that I don't like. Directionally challenged.
He's directionally challenged? I am. I definitely am, I feel like. But maybe I'm not. Maybe it's just I'm not used to Miami yet. Being emotionally unavailable. Not fucking listening.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I know God made us all different. But like I can see when Sean blanks over when I'm like having a conversation, and like I need to just stop talking, because like sometimes, especially because he doesn't drink, I will go in this whole emotional like tangent.
When you're drunk?
I don't get drunk, but like a good buzz.
Right. I won't say drunk. We've never gotten drunk before. Ever.
I just want to see you drunk.
All right. When's it going to happen?
I think Greece.
All right.
But I feel like only Cutwater will do it.
No, like if I'm doing shots.
I don't do shots.
But I'll do them.
Okay.
You're doing a shot in Greece.
I'll do a shot right now.
We have to do Ouzo and...
Oh my gosh, Ouzo's gonna kill me though.
Yeah, but
it's like
one.
fire. Oh man. No, I can see like when I'm like I can tell when I go on a podcast tangent and I talk to him, like, all right, granted sometimes it's like right before sex and like my shirt's off and I'm like talking to him. I have this whole, I don't know, ladies, if you've ever been there where you're like in the moment and then all of a sudden I'm like chatty Cathy comes into the conversation and he's like sitting there with like a and I'm like and
and we're gonna be on the stage
and we're gonna go on tour and the sister show's gonna do this and that and like yeah. So at that point is when I can see him glaze over.
Yeah. Well,
just saying.
You know what it is? It's you got to just find someone that has a lot of things you love about them and some things that annoy you, and you just got to hope that they adjust. but we can't change people, which is the unfortunate thing.
You look so pretty.
Do I?
I'm obsessed with her. I'm just staring at your bounce.
I'm in my ovulation. That's why.
Oh.
So I'm like ready to be inseminated.
Yeah.
I started The Man with 1,000 Kids.
Let's close with that. What are you thinking?
So I'm like halfway through the second episode. So halfway, it's 3 episodes, right? Yeah. This man scares me.
He looks serial killer.
I don't like it, and I feel bad for these kids.
And do you see how that's all in the same area?
It's like you go to the coffee shop, you meet this girl that you love, and it's your half sister.
Basically, it's this guy, and I won't give it away at the very end, but he is in the Netherlands, and he has blonde hair, blue eyes, long blonde hair, he calls himself a Viking. And basically he is either artificially inseminating, which, how about them putting his sperm in the cup and then they would deliver it to him?
And then the one lady literally inseminated herself on the side of the highway.
Yeah. And then he'll also do it naturally, which is, you know what that is, everybody. And this guy, one of the lesbian mom, am I allowed to say that? I always get canceled when I say anything wrong. Her kid in preschool, mom is also a lesbian, and they knew that she had a baby, and then they see that the babies look alike.
Yeah.
And they turn out to be brother and sister.
No.
Watch it. What is it? A Man with 1,000 Kids?
The Man with 1,000 Kids. Yeah, it's
on
like
Netflix.
the top Netflix show right now.
All right, guys, we're done with this. Let us know if any of these resonated with you. Obviously, it's just our opinions, but I think we were pretty spot on with each other of what we just don't tolerate.
Yeah, I think we're just the same.
Doppelganger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's just way better. So proud of her. I want her to stand on my shoulders and go higher than I ever could. But anyway, we will see you guys next week on the Sisterish Show. We are going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus because we're going to Greece, which that episode will be coming up. But we will be back, of course, after that trip. But I'm excited. And make sure you leave us a review. YouTube is popping off with you guys. We're gaining subscribers. And I think you guys just like to watch the shittery that is us.
Yeah.
But I just want to remind you that on Spotify, you can also watch us if you didn't know that. But we are also on Apple and Spotify and YouTube. And every time you leave a comment, share, tag us, let us know how you feel about our podcast or you're listening to it. It just means everything to us. So keep sharing the love and it helps our page get seen. So thank you so much.
We love you all so much and we'll see you next week.